super excited because today you are going to hear all about productivity from Cara Chace. Now, Cara has been world famous for her Pinterest strategies and productivity. So she is moving away from Pinterest, even though she is still very much an expert in that field. So we do have a separate interview with Cara all about Pinterest, what's going on, what the algorithm is, what you should be doing, what shouldn't you be doing, and where you should be spending your ad money. So that is inside of Planner Pixies. So remember, if you would like to join Planner Pixies, we post secret videos all the time. So that is waiting for you inside of the membership. But today we are talking with her about productivity and also about what her favorite planner is and her business advice on how to create a productivity planner. Thanks so much for being on here. Super excited to hear all about productivity because we all want to be more productive.
Yes, don't we all?
Yeah. So why don't you just tell us, how did you land on productivity? Like, where did this come from?
Yeah, so it's not originally what I envisioned for my business. When I first started my business way back in 2015, I was doing anything under the umbrella of digital marketing. So building websites and all social media and email marketing. And, when you first start your business, it's like, what can I get paid for that I know how to do well? But I had never run a business before. I was not a born entrepreneur. I'm not one of those kids that was like selling baseball cards at 13. And traditional school did not teach me how to be productive or anything about time management. So I really had to figure it out super quick if I wanted to run a business. At the time, I had a 2-year-old. And it was that sink or swim of I have to figure out how to be able to do all the things. So productivity is something that I have continued to build and refine and tweak and learn over the course of my business journey, from moving to growing a family. We now have 2 kids to public school and then quarantine and online school and back again, all of these things that happen in our lives. And I had to continually adjust to make my business work with my life. So when I realized productivity was something that I should be really sharing a lot more with my audience about, was really year 2 of the pandemic, when I realized that the systems and skills that I had learned, when we applied it to our 2nd grader, she finished her school year in April with a 97%. And it was one of those, if I can teach these things to my 8-year-old, this will work for anybody, and I need to be sharing it.
Nice. And so were you just always productive, like before kids, like as a single person, and then no?
No. So, like I said, I was never taught anything about productivity in school or even college.
Mhm.
I was always doing the late night cramming and doing the 20-page paper the night before, all of that kind of stuff. I really kind of thrived on that pressure.
Mhm.
And in my first career in law enforcement, there was a lot to handle as far as paperwork and cases and all of that. And I always remember having this general feeling of like, I need to figure out how to do this better or be more organized. But my job didn't really depend on it. I wasn't forced to do that to continue getting a paycheck. So, really, I would say it's something that I've always kind of wanted to do, but I was never forced to do. It
Mhm.
wasn't until I started my own business that it was like, well, you got to figure this out or your business isn't going to work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Wait, law enforcement. Were you a police officer?
I was a special agent for the federal government for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We should talk about that. I write cozy mysteries.
Oh,
Yeah. So
yeah.
that's
Well,
great.
I was a special agent in San Diego right out of college.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to productivity. So,
I know.
moms, yes, tough. And then
Yes.
all of a sudden your kids are home with you all the time. I guess what's your biggest detractor for productivity and like your tips on how to overcome that?
I'd say the biggest detractor is all of it, right? I prioritize personal time and personal care for me because I
Mhm.
know I'm a better mom and wife when I've had time to myself. I know who I am, my personality, like I'm an introvert. I need that alone time to recharge. So making sure I have time for that sometimes is a struggle, not so much anymore. And then, going from having one 2-year old to now we have a 9-year old and a 4-year old, and everything that goes along with all the life stages and changes with having little kids and growing your family. That's
Mhm.
always a distraction. And then, prioritizing my marriage and time for my husband and our time together. So one of the philosophies that I have around business is I have a business that works for my life, not the other way around.
Mhm.
So when I first started my business, I was working nights and weekends and burnt out. And every Sunday night, I'd have a glass of wine on the couch trying to bang out a blog to publish the next morning, all of that kind of stuff. And I was exhausted. And at some point, it wasn't a moment, it really was adjusting over time. I've realized that that is just not the way that I want to live my life
Mhm.
or what's important to me. So I prioritize all those other things first. And I have a business that I have created that works with those priorities, not the other way around. So it helps a lot with those distractions and what have you.
Yeah, that's perfect. And I think that's so in tune with like Gen Z coming out. They're the same thing. They're like, we just work to live. We're not like trying to burn the midnight oil and work weekends, right? That's
Right.
not what we're
Right.
about.
But at the same time, you have to have like you have to be proud of what you're putting out into the world. That's a whole nother conversation, the zeitgeist quiet quitting moment we're having right now.
Mhm.
Um, but I wouldn't do my business if I didn't enjoy it. I spent until I was 33 years old, 30 no, 2000, so 35 years old
Mhm.
doing things I didn't enjoy.
Hmm.
So this is not, I'm just doing this to collect a paycheck. I mean, and I don't think any entrepreneur really has any sense of longevity if they don't love what they do and they're not um, passionate about what they're sharing with their audience, for sure.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes the quiet quitting almost helps people stay employed because they're not miserable. You know what I mean? They've kind of found a way
Mhm.
to deal with it versus the rest of us, we were working crazy hours and things that we hated, but
Right.
maybe,
I
I don't
think
know,
there's
maybe
maybe a middle in there somewhere.
yeah, like a
Yeah.
nice medium, right?
Right.
So when you decided you wanted to be more productive, who did you look to? Like, who are your gurus that you kind of followed?
Yeah. So I came across years ago when I guess I first started, so it would have been like 2015, 2016, Todd Herman. And he
Oh,
was doing a cohort that was, I don't remember exactly the name, and
was
probably
it
has moved.
the 90-day year?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So originally it was like, yes, I want to get more done in less time, right? What everybody realizes that I need to get more
Mhm.
done, but I don't have any more time or, whatever. And the principles that he taught around how to prioritize your work, to value your work, all of those things were really, really instrumental in laying the foundation for me discovering how to create productivity that works for me in my life. I would say, and I've done others over the years, but he's definitely the one that sticks out to me as that foundational, like, aha moment for me about how to start building productivity skills.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, what's your favorite productivity tool to help organize yourself? Is it, I'm guessing
Yeah,
ClickUp, maybe not Asana?
I am a huge ClickUp fan. So
Mhm.
back when I first started, there was, I mean, I was using like Google Sheets, spreadsheets for stuff, which is how I first developed my planning method that I use and that
Mhm.
I teach was just a Google spreadsheet. But Trello, for some reason, was immediately a no for my brain.
Hmm.
I limped along with Asana for a while, but there were a lot of things about it that just didn't work for me. And then when ClickUp came out, went over and I went all in, and it definitely works with my brain. My team and I use it really well. We have no
Mhm.
Slack, right? Anything that needs to be communicated happens in ClickUp. So it keeps us on task instead of in Slack all day, as we know
Mhm.
can be very distracting.
Yes.
So yeah, ClickUp definitely is my favorite tool.
All right. I'm so glad you said that because I was in another group with some writers and we use Discord, which is pretty much like Slack. And all of
Mhm.
a sudden it became like this social media thing where I had to like every post and then everyone was
Right.
posting memes all day. And I was like, how are any of us getting any writing done? Like,
You're right. Exactly. So I had a client years ago that they did everything in Slack, and
mm,
you could see it. Like, I was a contractor for them with
mhm.
Pinterest stuff, but you could see how much time it took. And I knew for my team that that was not something that I wanted to create as far as that time suck. We just want to get into our work, do the work, and then go do other things.
Yeah, I think ClickUp's good for just keeping you on track. And then did you try Asana or Monday or any of those others?
Asana was the one that I used before ClickUp. So I did like it, but there were so
Mhm.
many limitations that I just couldn't quite get
Mhm.
around.
Okay.
I have never used Monday.
Okay.
So
So I guess tools, what other tools are helpful, like just for life or health or whatever?
yeah. So one of the concepts that I teach, the main concept that I teach is theme day planning.
Mhm.
And it's something that I came up with trial and error. Like I said, I started it in a spreadsheet. And what it helped me do, and I didn't realize when I created it at the time that this was what it was doing, but it helps me eliminate as much context switching as possible, so
Mm.
I can really spend the most time that I can during the day in that like focus and flow work
Mhm.
where time just kind of drops away. So it literally is taking your brain dump list of everything you have to do, knowing what days are for what tasks. So, like, maybe Monday is writing, and Tuesday is client work, and Wednesday is
Mhm.
social media, and looking at your list and slotting in, grouping those similar tasks together. So you can really focus and not be constantly trying to
Mhm.
switch from analytical to creative, and all of that kind of stuff. So that's the biggest tool that I use. And it literally was how I figured out how to have two kids and plenty of time for myself and run a business. Um, as far as other tools, anything that helps you schedule and batch, I'm a big
Mhm.
fan of. So I
Okay.
use Tailwind personally for Pinterest and Instagram.
Mhm.
And batching and scheduling, I think, is the key to productivity and consistency with marketing.
Okay. I mean, I love batching. Here's my only like, and this might just be me with batching. So I'll batch a day for, work on project A. And I thought I
Mhm.
would make it through 10 steps, but I only make it through like 7.
Sure.
I'm so close. Do I just bump the next day and just just keep going because I have such great momentum? Or do I just say, too bad, so sad, I'll catch up on it the next time I
Right.
scroll the page?
And I think that's super common. Everybody
Mhm.
goes through that. And I don't think there's a right answer. It really depends on what else is going on in your schedule and what your priorities are. If your
Mhm.
priority, say you have a goal for the quarter of consistently push out your marketing, on a consistent basis, get it done, really
Mhm.
focus on your marketing, really decide you're going to do it, then that's going to be more important than something else. So it's really a reflection of your goals and priorities. Theme days is something that I came up with as a solution to that problem, because that's what I originally tried, time blocking,
Mhm.
right? And it was like, same thing. Well, I'm going to write a blog and I thought it would take me an hour, but here I am 2.5 hours later, and
Sure.
everything else, what happens to it? So instead of time blocking, I put tasks for a day. So it's a
Mhm.
little bit more flexible. So, um, it's not perfect, but
Mhm.
it's the best solution that I have found for sure. But I mean, everybody has that problem. This took me way
Mhm.
longer, or whatever it is. So I would say the answer to that is look at your priorities and your goals and decide what's most important.
Right. Unless, of course, you were able to build a time machine for us. That would be great.
Yes, that would be amazing. That extra
Yeah.
hour in the day.
Right. Yeah, I always
Yes.
live for that daylight savings in November. We set the clock back.
I
It makes you
know.
feel better. I don't know why.
Yes, I agree. Totally agree.
So everyone on this channel makes planners. They love planners. So we all want to know, what planner do you use?
So I'm so glad you asked this question, because this year I have been on a planner spending spree, because
What
I'm
we like to
in
hear.
that like nothing's quite right. Okay.
Okay.
So, and I think that's why most people end up creating their own planners, is they can't find
Yeah.
exactly what works for their brain. So last year For the entire year, I use the full focus planner. I
Mhm.
love it. It really works with my brain. It has that ideal work week that works seamlessly with my theme day planning. I really like it. But I found at the end of last year that I wasn't using it as much. It almost
Mm.
became like it was so automatic. I wasn't using all the features.
Mhm.
I wasn't really focused and present with it. So I started every quarter buying a new planner this year.
Okay.
So I am a 90-day planner. I don't like unless it's like yearly planning for like what am I
Mhm.
gonna promo 10,000 foot view. I'm 90 days. So I have tried the Phoenix planner,
Mhm.
which I really liked. Really,
Okay.
really liked it. It forced me to truly think about my goals and break them down into actionable steps.
Mhm. Okay.
Um, and then I tried the Best Self journal.
Yes. Mhm.
I used it for about a week. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do
Okay.
it. And I'm currently using the Legend
Oh, pretty.
planner. It's huge and it's heavy, and there's a lot of features about it I like, but this is not it either.
Mm. Okay.
So in reflection, I know that Full Focus Planner has come out with
Mhm.
a lot of updates and new features, and I am going to be trying that again for
Hmm.
Q4
Wow. All
coming up
right.
here. So
That's interesting. And you're a
yeah,
paper planner person, it looks like, not digital.
both.
Oh, you do
So
both.
I am the kind of person that I have to write it to have it
Mhm.
be cohesive and stick in my brain. I don't know if that's a generational thing, old school, whatever it is. I have to do the dump list. I have to plan out my
Mhm.
day, but I also have my schedule in Google Calendar,
Mhm.
and I have like our entire marketing calendar in ClickUp. So it's definitely a combination of both, but everything happens first from my brain to paper, and then I get it where it needs to go online.
So, do you have an iPad with the pencil?
No, I'm an
Oh, you don't?
Android. Yeah.
Okay. So does your Android have a tablet with the pencil, the Samsung Pen?
Yeah, I have a Samsung tablet.
Do
Yes.
you get the same feeling of, like, satisfaction from writing on the tablet as paper? No,
No,
okay.
it's too distracting for me. There's
Mm,
so many little doodads and features and all of that kind of stuff. It's too distracting for me.
got it. Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. So, what's your advice so now everyone's, like, on the edge of their seat. What's your advice for someone who is trying to sell a productivity planner, right? So, someone appealing to the same people that you are that just wanna be
Right.
more efficient.
Right. So marketing advice?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or marketing, design, anything you can think of, doesn't
Yeah.
matter, no categories.
So here's what I would say from constantly trying to find the perfect planner or create my own. I've done bullet journaling as well. I love it, but it takes too much time.
Yes.
Mm. Is you're not going to be able to please everyone.
Mm,
So decide on what you think the most important features are, or come up with different products that are very specific to the different ways that people plan and the different ways that people work.
mm, okay.
Um, if you and I've tried to make my own planner before many years ago where it was like,
Mhm.
well, here's all the features that I love, and it ends up being this thick, and it's like
Uh,
you can't really do that and make it feasible. So from a audience messaging marketing perspective, decide on what it is your planner does and how it does it really well, and don't
mhm.
try to be all things to all people.
All right. That's a good point. I never thought about, like, once you get, like, a productivity expert in there, they're like, "Okay, these are the 100 questions you need to think through every morning." Then we can
I know.
start planning. Right?
Right, exactly. It's like, no, I don't really have time to do
Right.
that. Right. My morning routine is like 15 minutes. It's
Mhm.
not this, 2 hour
Right.
long extravaganza. Maybe someday, but yeah.
Well, it's funny. Have you ever checked out the Brendan Bouchard productivity planner?
No.
So it's just take a peek. It's a daily planner, and, like, it is so, like, full of, like, I'm sure he thinks they're great questions, and not that they aren't, but there's too many. And, like, at some point you're like, okay, it's now time for lunch. I don't even know what I could plan. And I don't know if that's because maybe he's he has no kids and he's a guy, and their schedules and their,
Right.
priorities are very different.
Right. Well, it's funny. I belong to a networking entrepreneur social group here, and they
Mhm.
have this 7:30 a.m. on Thursday morning coffee meeting. And I'm like, I will never be there because I am getting kids where they need to go. This is
Right.
not a time that any mom entrepreneur would ever be able to do with
Right.
school age kids. So, yeah, it's possible. Mhm.
Right. All right. So, how can people work with you or find you to just get advice or help, business, productivity, either one?
Yeah. So my last name is spelled differently. And the benefit of that is that my name is everywhere online as far as I have my handle everywhere
Mhm.
online. So it's Cara Chace, Carachace. So you could
Mhm.
go to carachace.com, and that's my website and has everything that I have to offer. Instagram handle is Cara Chace, Pinterest is Cara Chace. I'm pretty much off Facebook and Twitter at this point, but yeah, you can find everything there.
All right. Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.